The Rebels go down hard for the first time this season, but there's no time to sulk in the SEC. It's on to another top 15 opponent in the SEC Western Division for Ole Miss as they welcome Arkansas this Saturday. Got Nick Filipich on the line from the Rebel Walk to join us and break down Ole Miss football. Nick, how's it going today?
It's going, the downhill slope of the week, ready for some football. So another week in the SEC, it's going to be a good one.
So between Lane Kiffin, the rest of the coaching staff, and players, how did they explain Alabama? Not prepared, not ready?
I think maybe with Alabama, maybe just simply overmatched a little bit. You saw definitely with the offensive line and defensive line of Alabama just kind of dominated the whole game. And, once they kind of got behind, they, I guess we're just playing catch up. And, with the fourth downs, Lane Kiffin said this week, it's like playing blackjack, scared money don't make money. So that was kind of that, they have the 24-hour rule. So they're, flushing that away and ready for Arkansas.
So you kind of allude to the fourth down gambles by Lane Kiffin versus the fourth down conversions by Alabama. So Lane Kiffin, most people are probably aware that are watching this, had made a comment referring to popcorn. So if you could kind of take us through, and then he kind of drew that back this week in regards to the offensive play calling and what worked and what did not.
Right. So, yeah, he said, last year, kind of with the fourth downs, it went real well for him. I think they might have been 5 for 5, and, it's not always going to work. So, before the game, I guess y'all saw, he said, you better get your popcorn ready. And, he told his offensive coordinator, hey, I just said something really stupid. So let's score a lot of points. And so, that was kind of it, so they're I think he did a good job with that, kind of ran with it and kind of, owned up, said, hey, I made a stupid comment, so they're ready to go. I think this game is going to be really good for the Rebels.
If you're going to enjoy and back and support a coach like Lane Kiffin, as long as the down points are harmless, and I would certainly consider this to be one, it's not hurting anyone, it's not a moral issue or anything in any such way. It's all in good fun, and maybe he slipped up in a place of his position shouldn't say something like that. I think that he's definitely grown and advanced from previous jobs and acknowledging that. And I don't think that there's any big deal there by any stretch. And I got to think that the fan base is in full support of Lane Kiffin and happy that he's the head coach.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He's very active on social media, is very good with, interacting. And actually this week, he started getting on Instagram, and telling people, come to the game. The Grove will be there after the game. It's an early game, and sometimes you can struggle to get people out, especially students, But, and like he said, he said it earlier this year, if y'all want to have a top tier program, you have to be top tier fans, show up. Recruits want a full stadium and they want to play in front of these big crowds and big time games. And, at the end of the day, that sometimes what could keep a kid from going to, Ole Miss or Georgia or Alabama or, LSU or something like that. So, he's kind of putting the emphasis on, hey, show up and, be there, be loud, be proud.
Folks, we got Nick Filipich on the line from the Rebel Walk. Head on over there, check out his work and the rest of the staff there at the Rebel Walk. They do a fine job covering Ole Miss athletics. And, of course, we're talking football with Arkansas up ahead in Oxford. All right, looking at some injuries that we need an update on. A couple key players are down for this week. Talk about their replacements and what we can look forward to Saturday.
So last week, Jonathan Mingo, I think it was Thursday last week before the Alabama game, he had a foot injury. So he's out. And, you have Jaden Jackson and Danis Jackson that are, kind of, I guess, splitting some time, and just really trying to fill a void because Mingo is a big part of the offense. And so I think the guys that are backing him up are definitely capable of, kind of filling a little void. And then yesterday after practice, we heard about Caleb Warren, one of our offensive guards that had an ankle injury sustain in practice. And so his backup is going to be the transfer from South Carolina, Jordan Rhodes, who came in early August. I think it was, I was at practice. I think it was either the first or second day, and he showed up, and he's a big old boy. So I think he's going to be ready. He's got the SEC experience, so we'll see.
Yeah, Jonathan Mingo, 15 catches, 19 yards per reception, 3 touchdowns, a major factor in the offense. And, of course, offensive line play, key in the SEC.
Absolutely.
The way Arkansas is, all you have to do is look at the game tape, particularly against a inexperienced but very talented Texas A&M front, and they were able to manhandle them and control the running game for most of that game. All right, Nick Filipich is on the line from the Rebel Walk to talk up Ole Miss football. The Rebels taking on Arkansas. Please like the video, share the videos out on social media, and please subscribe right here, the Voice of College Football. So in looking at this Arkansas team, at the same time or roughly 3 hours prior to Ole Miss and the Rebels' baptism in Tuscaloosa, Arkansas got a similar dose at Georgia. Both teams reeling a bit, but at the same time have shown that they're capable teams. I think legitimate top 15 teams in the country.
Right.
Your thoughts about the Hogs coming in?
So you kind of saw it in the Georgia game. Georgia really ran the ball on them pretty well, just like Alabama did with Ole Miss. So I think Arkansas is definitely going to come in and want to run the ball. And they have number 2 pass defense in the nation. They're going to make Matt Corral, like last year, he couldn't, take the check down, I think it was 6 interceptions. So they're going to probably do the exact same thing, want him to check it down. And he's really grown and shown the ability to do that this year, take what's given to him. And, if he has to, he can scramble. So for offense for Arkansas, I think they're a lot of the same. They're going to take what they get, what the Ole Miss defense gives them. And KJ Jefferson's definitely going to pose a big threat. He's a big guy. He can beat you with his arm, beat you with his legs. So I think that's going to be a big challenge for the Ole Miss defense.
Has Lane Kiffin or any of the Rebels, even going back to the summer, talked about goals and expectations for this team and whether those expectations were, in a sense, revised after the Alabama game?
I don't think so. Kind of like I said earlier, I think, no coach or player is really going to admit it, but I think at the end of the day, they were just outmatched by Alabama. So, I think the defense has taken a lot of strides, with the new scheme, the 3-2-6, and just kind of, I think they're pleased, but there's always room for improvement. So I think they're just focused on, playing Arkansas and, getting better each week, week by week. They say, go 1-0 every week. So I think they're, happy, but they would like to be 5-0. So
Matt Corral was a guy that was talked about concerning the Heisman Trophy race going into the Alabama game. That is cool to a certain extent, but he still has yet to throw an interception against 10 touchdowns this year. Nick, when you look at both the offensive and defensive sides of the ball, are there any particular players that you enjoy watching that if somebody's tuning in to watch Ole Miss football for the first time should be looking out for?
I think like you mentioned, Matt Corral, he's one of the best, if not the best in the country. Lane Kiffin said it a few weeks ago in his press conference. Fans really need to appreciate what they're being able to watch right now, because those don't come often. So, him, and I really like the transfer linebacker from Maryland that's not Ole Miss, Chance Campbell. He's really kind of stepped up, and filled a void at linebacker. Everybody loves John Rice Plumlee. He's not playing too much right now, but when he is in the game, he's fun to watch. He's fast, plays baseball. Same with Jaron Ely. 2-sport athletes. So Ole Miss is definitely fun to watch, and I think for Arkansas, you're definitely going to want to look at KJ Jefferson. He's from Sardis, Mississippi, and wanted to come to Ole Miss, and didn't really get the attention he wanted. So I think he's going to come in with a little chip on his shoulder in this game, and want to kind of stick it to the Rebels.
Chance Campbell leads the team with 29 tackles, has 2 sacks. Yeah, keep an eye out for him. John Rice Plumlee, we got a chance to see him in the bowl game as a slot receiver. Came up with some huge catches, one on the game-winning drive. I was expecting to see him more this season, especially considering losing the two pass catchers from last season, Kenny Yeboah, even though he's a tight end,
Right.
different position, and also, of course, Elijah Moore. Was Rice Plumlee expected to play more? Why is his playing time limited?
I'm with you. Going to practices in the beginning of the fall. He was in the slot running with the ones. And it seemed very apparent to all of us that he was going to be the guy. And I don't know if it's just kind of a new position. Kind of just I really it must just be something with the new position. He's still kind of trying to get it down. But I think eventually it's a long season, so I think we'll see him eventually. God forbid any more injuries, but he's going to have to play at some point. So I think when his number's called, he's got to be ready.
Georgia, Alabama have established themselves as not only the two best teams in the SEC, but most likely, we've got no proof of this because there's not enough non-conference games, but most likely the two best teams in the country. So Arkansas and Ole Miss take their knocks last week, but there's no shame in losing to those two teams. And we'll see who can break through and possibly be that second or third team in the SEC Western Division with, of course, a ton of big games against the likes of Auburn, Texas A&M, and LSU coming up, in particular Mississippi State, of course, at the end of the line for the Rebels. Nick, we appreciate you stopping by. We want everyone to be encouraged to head on over to the Rebel Walk to check out Nick's work over there and the rest of the staff covering Ole Miss football. Nick, we appreciate you stopping by.
All right. Thank you so much, Mark. Have a good weekend and hope to get back on soon.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.